everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of OP Ada. In the last episode, we befriended a science city-state, a culture city-state, and crushed a military city-state. In this episode, we're gonna expand a whole lot further now that we got our base down, and perhaps even construct some wonders. We're gonna try to remain friendly with everyone, except these city-states that hate us. Usually, mostly, kind of. But we're see how it goes. So right now we're just expanding as far out. We're also going to hold a few units in place to, again, just, show the shadow of war a little bit so we can see what's going on. You never want to send your settler out to a location and which you think is great, and then once you get there with your settler, it's already taken. There is a city already there when you get there. So you just want to kind of reveal the surroundings, see what units are moving around us.
Has not yet appeared.
So we got our first civilization, Civic Tech. So we unlocked Pet Cot, which is +1 science on vegetated terrain. We're gonna get rid of the +1 production and science on the palace, because again, that's just 1 and 1. Instead, we got almost, I think it was +6. I think we were at like 28 science before. Gonna get another +6 from Confucius. Again, we don't like to use our influence with other civilizations. We'd much rather use that to befriend city-states and become the Sioux of them, to get access to that free technology now and free civic that we're gonna get every time we expand. So right here, we're just expanding out. Again, I'm gonna basically keep this as unedited as possible, just to show you every single move that I make. Gonna unload here. Maybe get some points from hitting a few of these guys. See, but this right here is out of range for the commander, but we also do need to hit them. So you can't have your commander always getting experience. You should aim to do that like we did here, but in not every situation are you going to be able to accomplish that goal. And it's much better to get rid of these units and get your commander experience more in the future. We have some action here. We just took damage. He's fine though. Jaguar warrior will survive that. We'll move him back. And then a good safe space to hide your units is within the commander. Now before we let that scout go when it was all by himself, this time we're gonna attack him because it gives the commander some experience. So now we're going to lay down another settler. We have a few good places to expand, and we want to expand to our limit as soon as possible. We already have 2 cities down, or a city and a town, and another settler right here going out as well. So we're already at our cap of 3. But the cap will expand, and by the time we research the technology to expand the cap and move the settler, we should have a level 4 cap at that time. So be able to do 4 cities, or 1 city, 3 towns, or however you want to do that. Cities and towns also count as the same. I think it would be kind of cool if they did like cities count as 2 and towns count as 1. And the game expands that a little bit more. And here we meet one of the AI civs that I am not a fan of at all, because she's just so aggressive. She expands so much. She's very wondrous. She'll get mad at you if you have more wonders than her. So immediately you have to take that into consideration when you're building wonders. And you certainly don't want to make her mad, because she is a pain to deal with. Also, when you go into war is not just about, can I win or not? Or will I survive? It's also about war wariness. And you don't want to stay in that war wariness for so long, because it'll basically decrease everything. It won't help you with production. It hinders you from producing buildings or wonders because you're so focused on military that it really it hinders your expansion so much. But also at this time, I'm going to keep this as transparent as possible. There was a bio break during this interaction. So we're going to be on this screen for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to put a cut here. I think I went outside and grabbed a snack as well. We're going to put a cut here and come right back. All right, we're back. We're going to go for a friendly greeting here. Again, we want to keep it friendly with her. She's super aggressive, probably the most aggressive AI in the game. And we're going to continue to expand. This continent seems pretty short, long ways. Seems like we already found the top and the bottom. Here we're expanding out. We're going to expand out to try to match where Confucius is. You get another +6 per turn. It is for both leaders, but you really got to think of yourself here. So we're going to go from +23 culture to +29. We're also at +41 science. We're doing very, very well in the competition against the other AIs. And on Deity, they get a huge boost to everything. So it's nice to be able to just compete with them at this moment. And we haven't really got the ball rolling with everything, but we're 41 science on turn 49 is not bad. Our production is solid, science good. We just got irrigation, which I mentioned is gonna increase our settlement cap from 3 to 4. We already have the third settler on the way. We're gonna get the 4th one soon. So we get +25 culture from Arna. That is the first step of becoming the Sus. So it gets a little culture. And then we can go into bronze working. The wheel, our currency now. We're going to go with bronze working. Bronze working gives us level 2 or the level 2 units for our military, which will be very helpful. And then you want to be careful where you move your commander as well. So the commander can move all the way here, but if it does, it won't be able to unload its troops. But if you move it within the commander radius and stick to that one tile, then you will still be able to deploy your units. Now, instead of going right onto the tile that the settler is on to protect it, I have revealed the Shadow of War, so I'm going to go one step ahead because the settler has 3 moves compared to the Halche's 2. So we're just checking on the status of all of our potential Sus states. We don't have enough influence yet to persuade them to be friendly with us. Then we have Babylon here, which is already a friend, already giving us a free tech every time we become the Sus of a city-state. Nah. +5 science. Gonna go for another military unit because we just dropped another settler. So we need a military unit to go along with our settler. We always want to have protection for our settlers. I know in episode 1, if you watched that, we didn't do that. In Civ 7, we've been very, very aggressive with our settler movement. For some reason, it doesn't feel like, you know, it doesn't feel as dangerous to move your settlers around in Civ 7 as it did in previous civilizations. So, I mean, go for it. Take risks. Take chances. So here we're kind of using our deploy units. Kind of see what's around us a little bit. Running into another city as well. I also think I'm going to go here. So the The AI's recommendation on where you should build cities is really just recommendations. It is not always the best spot to build your city. So if I built it where the AI told me to build that city, I would lose 3 tiles because those 3 tiles are a mountain. But those mountains do eventually provide you with mostly happiness and culture. And mountains are very good for culture buildings as well. But right now I'm more focused on production at the beginning of the game than worrying about that. Also on that note, I see a lot of videos on like the perfect way to build your city. I assure you, Civ 7, I don't necessarily think you have to do that. I kind of explained how to increase your tile production in episode 1. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that. But it's pretty straightforward. It's a great game. A lot of people are hating on Civ 7. I am thoroughly enjoying this rendition of Civilization. Why? Because I always like the start of games. Like I'm a big fan of like origin stories, where things began, and having to start basically each section of the game kind of over a little bit. I really enjoy that. So here we're checking if the commander's in range. And then this is not a friendly city-state, you can see by the red border, but it's also a science city-state, so we kind of want to keep those around. The military city-states we can get rid of. Alright, we're going to take that. Really just focus on getting to the bottom of that experience chain. Once you get to the bottom, you get to choose one of the perks from the bottom as well, which I usually do expand radius, which helps out immensely. Whatever you want to do. Again, Civilization is really, I don't think you have to really follow any certain rules. As long as you focus on production, mainly. Don't forget about your text. I mean, there's definitely some good tips in here to pay attention to, but I really like the creative process that Civilization allows you to. You don't have to follow anything step for step. Just keep that in mind. We're gonna found Outsmart. Look at all this production. We should have went with the resource production, but the reason that we didn't go for the resource production is because with our first building that we build in any city, we like to build over those rural production tiles, because that will take the pop out of that tile and allow you to expand even further. So we're going to keep friendly with everybody. We have the option for the garden. We have a ton of options for wonders. This one is +1 science, +1 happiness. Still kind of debating what to do here. Don't know if I want to go with a wonder off the bat, except especially because we just ran into Hats to Fit. But +1 happiness, +1 science on tropical terrain. And it must be placed on tropical. So this is a good way to see if you do have tropic terrain. So when you select this, if only one tile is letting you build there, it's pointless to build. But since we have about 8 tiles showing up that are all going to receive +1 science and happiness, that's a must build. It's a natural wonder. I think this one is new. I have not run across this in my probably 10 games that I played. All the natural wonders look great too. They all offer something. This one offers 4 food and 2 happiness on that one tile. And it looks like it's just that one tile.
There is one tree that speaks.
The redwood forest. A great natural wonder if you come across this.
Watching stars.
I had one run through that my first city was right next to this, and I believe, yeah, the production bonuses were huge. +2 production early on is great. So also you get to the point where you get to some city states, and is it really beneficial if they're an aggressive city state? Is it really beneficial for you to take out that aggressive city state when it's surrounded? When your competitors are surrounding it? Like, I might as well let my competitors deal with the aggressive city state than have me responsible for that. Like, you could fight your own wars, you know? You got this. You go ahead. You do that. All right, so really we want to stick to what's working here for our civics, or whatever you want to call them. And then, so we only did the agreeable one there. After researching technology, gain culture equal to 10% of its cost. After studying a sick, gain science equal to 10% of its cost. This one is huge. The calendar round. Highly recommend. So we're going to go with that. The mastery is just as good. Going to go with science again. Another plus 20% science. We can go with 2 food and all the settlements, but again, you know, we might want to grow our settlements a little quicker so they grow, but production's king. We're going for our science win. We're going to do that. Again, we want to look towards production first and foremost in the early game. So both of our scouts here are kind of merging together, which you really want to avoid. You really want to send them in different paths. All right, and this does look like where we want to settle. If we go with the recommended route, not always the best option. We're going to go here. I always like to get the bird's eye view before I make any decisions. Because sometimes you might see a really, really good tile. Like, this is a solid tile for the start of the game. But perhaps a better option when you're so close to another nation or another AI is expand towards them and not really get the best production tile. But it's really super situational. All right, we're on turn 55 now. And usually, you know, rule of thumb, another great saying, rule of thumb is each age, so right now we're in the Antiquity Age, each age is around 100 turns. Could end a little sooner, could end a little later. But really it seems to be around 100 turns for me. Even if I set the age length to long, we'll see how much that impacts where we end up. This is the first time I changed the age length to long. Thought it'd be interesting to see exactly how much our science could explode, what we could do with it. Cool. And then we're not gonna scout there because we want to get completely kind of surrounded by these dark tiles that we cannot see before we hit that. And then again, there's not really any point in attacking right here because the unit itself does not gain experience. So I'd rather just go about my way, you know, mind my business. See, like here, not the best tile, but we want to expand into Shangan. And he's still friendly. I'd rather the gold than the food. Especially at the expense of 60 influence. Because right now, look at this. So we have receive a free civic when you become the Sioux of a city-state, including this one. So we unlocked a civilization. We have the Shawnee for the next age. We could use that in exploration age. We just might.
Eye for an eye.
So we unlocked Code of Laws. Quota laws in these merchants are going to keep us at peace. The best way to be at peace is to send merchants to other cities or to other nations, and also increase those trade routes as well. So we're going to keep our policies the same. And then we also have a choice of 50 gold or 25 culture. We do have a 12 turn culture to go, so it goes down to 11. Very nice. So right now we have 1 city, 2 towns. We have 519 gold. So we're going to start thinking about if we want to expand one of these cities, or one of these towns rather, into a city. And we're going to do Chichen Itza. Now, Uxmal has huge production. So we do want to get Uxmal up and running as fast as possible. But it was going to take us about 150 more gold to do so. So you always want to start with your production buildings. First and foremost, if you start and turn a town into a city, let's say you're in the modern age, you just turned the town into the city for the first time, lay all those production buildings down first. All of them. Even if there's 9 of them, just go straight production and then just leave it. Leave it alone, come back to it when it's all done. Instead of seeing a 18 turn altar, once you come back from all these production buildings, it'll be a 4 turn altar. It's very, very, very nice, very rewarding. We're going to get rid of this guy just because, you know, I don't like anybody scouting our location. Our resource tab pops up. Resource tab will pop up anytime you basically kind of discover a new resource or expand to a new resource, I should say, or found a city. So in that case, we just found a city. So there was no resources to actually pop up. But since we found a city, it did pop up. I'll go here. And you want to be careful with this in the early game, expanding to a coastal tile like this, because in some cases you will get stuck. In this case, we do have sailing, so we're good to go in case we have to go back into the water and kind of find our way back. We just got new tech unlocked, which is bronze working, and with bronze working comes with barracks, another huge production building, and we have another mastery here, 2 masteries. We're going to take one of those masteries before we go into currency. It was a gold option, so we just went with the middle option there instead of wasting our influence. Now we have our merchant. So Confucius is very, very close to us. Super convenient. It has 3 resources in it this early in the game, which is very, very nice. Now the problem with sailing in the beginning of the game is you could only go on the coastal tiles. So you want to be careful with that, especially if you're, you know, running up into a situation like I was just in. Because you won't be able to go past that city if it's expanded past the coastal tiles. So now we have kind of our hands full here. But gonna make it seem like light work. Move him up, take a shot. Again, no commander around, but you just gotta put some damage on him. And always weigh your options when attacking. Especially later in the game when you have so many units. You might have a ballista that for some reason you just didn't notice because of the amount of units you have. Going up against city walls, and basically the only thing you think you have is you know, standard infantry unit when you could have used the ballista. So always weigh your options when you go to attack anything, you know, other units, cities. We're doing pretty well. We have 58 science. We are losing to Confucius with 75. We're friendly with Confucius, friendly with Napoleon. We have 25 cultures, so we're kind of lagging in culture just a little bit. But again, with our perks, that will come up as well. But seeing that we're dominating science so much is just great, especially on Deity. Crush him, get rid of that threat. Also, I would also say that it's always good to use your range units first when attacking infantry units or melee units, because they won't be able to attack back. But in some situations, like in that city right there, sometimes you want to keep your unit in the city. So attacking first in the unit, knowing that your unit is going to stay in place in the city, even though the opposing unit doesn't die. It's sometimes better. It's very situational, but in some cases, that is your better solution. All right, so now we're gonna just start. I think we've expanded enough to where we want to place our cities. Any further south or east, we're gonna run into Confucius. Anywhere, north, we're gonna run into Frederick and Napoleon. We still haven't found where Hatzif is, or Hatzifet, where she is located yet, but she is also friendly with us now, which is very good. So our goal in this age is really to avoid combat as much as possible and see if we can get our science really, really having that tsunami effect, being able to roll over our competition. All right, so just expanding. Again, I don't want to do too many edits because I want to let you see exactly how everything's going. Get another expansion. That's for cavalry, which is, not too much. It is also +1 to for against infantry units, but that is cavalry. We should have gone for the sheep. Mistakes. I feel like Bob Ross in some situations. Little mistakes, make the game more entertaining and more fun. So there's no need to restart every turn. You'll be able to make up for your little mistakes. If you make a huge mistake, there's always that one turn autosave function that you could go for. Salt is really good. Salt's gonna plus 20% to our unit production, which is huge. And then we got the Mundo coming up. +1 happiness, +1 science in only one turn. Also, with Civ 7, it seems like wonders are just so much easier to complete. So we have an option to pushing out here. We're gonna do that. Now, you notice that it didn't give us an option to expand. That's because this production is in the second slot. Once it moves up to the first slot, we're gonna be able to move that pop around and expand our city. But since it's farther down in the production line, it doesn't automatically happen. We're gonna befriend Mesa Verde, which is a science city state. Science city states will give you plus science. I know we already got our free tech every time we become Sioux from Babylon, another science city state, but this one will give us +1 science to our science buildings, which is nice. And usually that's what I'm looking to take. But again, the great thing about Civilization is its replayability for sure, and how different you could play it each time. So everything's very situational. I mean, it's been a great game for a long time. The reason I didn't move the Holche back that time is because if I landed on that river, it would end my turn. So you really got to be aware of terrain. You know, terrain could really help you win or lose this game. If you get a really good start, oh, look at this. They expanded from 3 great resources to 5 in the time it took me to move my merchant down there. Now I have 4 to, you know, divvy out here. And then the other 2 or the other 1 will go up to the top with empire resource. So if you're ever wondering, if you ever like throw your or send your merchant out to a city, and look at that, just reached the first milestone of the economic. So economic in Antiquity is quite simple. Just send a merchant out to another city and then expand the trade route by diplomacy. It's just an option there. I think it costs 110 influence. And get about 20 resources. You get the 20 resources from the merchants. So we want to make sure we stay friendly with everyone in this run, or especially this age, because right now we are not focused on military at all, as you can see.
Light is great.
And then we got our wonder.
I am
Wonder break. Let's go, Mundo. We're crushing it.
My eyes are of metal, while my teeth glitter with jewels.
A famous quote by Popal. Popal. Look how good that looks. Looks perfect there. And the birds.
And his spirit stirred.
All right, so we unlocked the mastery tech for bronze working. +2 production on military buildings. That's going to help out the barracks a lot. That we just unlocked from bronze working. Then we're going to go... See, this mastery is +1 movement to siege units. We don't necessarily need that. Game 1 codex. It's only 4 turns. Then we have currency, which is a food, gold. We could grow faster, but to me in Civ 7, your cities grow pretty well, pretty quickly. Here we're going to take a pop shot at the spearmen. They already have spearmen and archers out, which is quite concerning because right now we have level 1 military. They are already on level 2, which is a little dangerous. Then we're also going to move towards who's attacking our city and basically get this in order. We definitely don't want to lose a settler and a whole city. That is no bueno. So also, if you move your units into your home territory, they should heal faster. That's the way it's worked in most other Civ games, so I'm just playing off that. If it's changed, let me know in the comments below. I do appreciate that. If I'm completely right, drop a like. Haha, how about that? I fit that in. New to YouTube, already figuring out how to comment like. Don't subscribe to me. Don't do it. It's bad for your health. No, do it. No, you know what? You should. You should subscribe. You know? It's good. Good for you. I mean, all right for me. It's good for me. Let's not deny that, okay? Keep it honest. Transparency, you know? So right now we're just trying to figure out the best way to move our units around to get rid of the spearmen, because the spearmen is quite dangerous. And then we also want to get everybody kind of around where our commander is, so we could get the most experience out of these confrontations as possible. So we're healing up. This guy is hurting. I think he's on 1 HP. But mission accomplished. We found the bottom of the map. Nobody looks like they're that expanded that much either. Confucius only has 2 cities. When I found Frederick, he only had 1. When I found Napoleon, he only had one. I know it was the beginning of the game, but they're not as quite expansive as they once were. All right, so this is a huge mistake. I just invested all of my influence, minus 30, to try to befriend Harpa. So this is full transparency. We have to reload that. That is a huge blunder. Look, everybody makes mistakes, okay? Some people don't know how to record YouTube videos, so they have to voice over it, you know? And some people put influence onto a city-state that is almost fully befriended by an opposing AI. Okay, mistakes were made. And the best thing to do with mistakes that you make in life is to recognize them. I have a pretty awesome computer, so that loaded pretty quickly. Oh, thank God. All right, talked through that one. Didn't have to make a cut because, I'm great at editing. Not really. All right, so we just built a wonder, but we have two other wonders. I'm not really too big of a fan of the wonders that just add another district that has to be conquered, because that could be accomplished with a 2-turn wall. Now, the other wonder there was a +2 on basically war wariness or war support, which helps out immensely. You get up to like +3, +4, you're hitting other opposing units, and it just doesn't feel right. So since we have the wonder there, that was a great spot to lay that down. And then we also have our unique district. The unique district, I always like to build at once. And I always make sure that both sides of the district get the best points. Because you might have a unique district that's like +10 to production, and it says +9 to happiness, for instance. This is totally hypothetical. But you lay down the +10 production, and then you go back, and you let it complete, let's say. Then you go back to lay down that +9 happiness, and the tile that you laid the +10 production is only like a +1 happiness for some reason. So you just get screwed on one. So you always want to make sure both your buildings and the unique quarter are set on the most ideal tile to put it on. So this is looking back on that huge mistake. Parappa is not going to go well. And then Confucius is already starting with Sigonia. Now we do have Arno, which is super, super close to Confucius, but it is just a city-state. Nukaleka is a gold city-state. Moreau is as well. Not too really compelling. We have Kaiji up there. But I do want that free technology. And we keep in mind, we do have a city-state, which is just northwest of our capital, Bach. But unlikely that the AI is even going to notice that city-state, because the terrain movement is just so difficult to get through or get to unless you're moving from our capital. So I feel like that city-state we can leave till the end. Now here, should have moved the commander, but again, little mistakes. Bob Ross, let's go. Good on. Happy trees, everybody. Happy trees. Another thing to keep in mind when you're moving your units around, you do get a defense bonus in certain terrain that you might land on. So hills, forest, you just want to make sure you're not in kind of a flat plains, because it's going to give you no bonuses. You're going to send another merchant out to Napoleon this time. So we got one going to Confucius, one going to Napoleon so far. We have 3 turns till we finish calendar round. Calendar round will give us those Civic Mastery boosts that we're looking forward to. And at this point, I'm also wondering, like, since we did all those masteries, like, should I have held off until we finished that research? And I was to be honest with you, I was thinking that for quite a while here. Like, did I just research all those masteries for nothing? Even though they did give me perks, they didn't go along with kind of the technology aspect that I thought it was going for. But if you look at Ada's traits, they are there, so we are getting that. 22 influence. We are extremely low on influence, but we're still doing very well on science. We're second in science. That is, being second in science is great for deity. And the first person in science is our friend. So with his, you know, our friend probably has, you know, aircraft carriers at this point, but he's our friend. Well, so let's just keep the guy with the nuclear bombs on our side. Again, I know, yes, drop in the comments below. There's no nuclear bombs in Antiquity. But if this was a Spiffing Brit video, there might be. So, I mean, there's not. There's not. I agree, but we got calendar round. Great technology. We also got the wheel. So, we became a Suze of a city. That's what just happened. Or, actually, no, I think we just researched those at the same time. I think. All right, so we're going to do this. It's going to give us a +1 settlement limit. The one thing that I don't like about the Mayans, +200 science is crucial. All right, so now we have a choice of economic or science. I always like to go to my attribute trees and see exactly what I want to research. And this is hands down a winner. +25 research to tech masteries, which is definitely the way I want to go, because that fits right in line with what we're doing here, this whole series. So +25 science towards research and tech masteries. Everything's working out grand. Cities receive +2 science per age when you complete a civic mastery. It resets at the start of the age. Gain culture equal to 50% of your total science per turn when you complete a technology mastery. So that was me earlier, the earlier thought of, am I doing this kind of basically in vain, or is it working out? And it turns out it was working out. So playing this correctly. Look at all this production. We're finally going to go for the sheep. Oh, are we not? No, we're going to go for the science. But the science is key. And you also want to look for who's producing most science. Bach, the capital, is producing 30 science. We're not building any units right now, so we're going to put the salt aside. Now, since Chichen Itzen is a city, we sacrifice one of its non-city or town resources to give to another town for a city resource. I think Civilization 7 is still a very complex game, but if you played every single rendition of Civilization as I have, this one seems, again, I keep saying this, but this one seems quite a lot more, I don't want to say basic, because there is still a lot of thought and, you know, strategy behind it, but it just seems, you know, a lot more straightforward. So here I'm thinking where to expand. Like, am I really concerned about Mesa Verde? Or do I want these sheep? Or do I want that 2 production? The sheep is a great production resource. And as you can see, we're already on the way to that economic path, trying to stack up 20 resources. There's also a bonus to have a certain amount of resources. I believe it's 8 in one city. So with the camels that we'll eventually gather, and now it's time because we're full on resources to unlock those. That the camels will help out a lot. Conclusion. Complete thought. Boom. Ah. Also, you can kill these friendly units, and they don't seem to get mad at you when you kill the neutral units. It would seem right to, if you kill a neutral unit from a city state and you attack them, that they would turn mad at you. but they don't. And that's also why I befriended Mesa Verde. Mesa is quite angry at me, and they keep trying to attack one of my towns, and it's just not nice. So I'm like, hey, let's be friends. Also saw 170 influence, and it's gonna work out because then they're gonna stop attacking us, and on top of that, give us a free civ. Also, see, when you think about expanding, it's 3 from the center each way. So even if I pop this tile that's at the bottom here, it won't expand into Confucius anymore. Another +6 science is huge. We're at 59 science now. Confucius is at 92, okay? No doubt about that. We're at 59. It's huge. Huge. Yeah, and you could always use the, I call it the suck in button, suck in all your troops. The vacuum cleaner button, as you will. We're going to move this unit back, and then we're going to go ahead and attack. Good attack with low health there. I'll have him clean it up and give the experience to the commander. Now, since we're friends with Arna, we can move through its borders. You can pretty much move through any city-state's borders, but if they're not friendly with you, not great idea. Oh, also, +1 specialist per city. This is a huge thing to unlock early, because these masteries are these, you know, these plus signs will carry through the game. So if you don't get this mastery, you'll be basically 1 less specialist per city. We're going to need that for the exploration age, be able to get 40 per tile on, I think it's 4 or 5 tiles that you have to get 40 on. And we're going to do that for sure. Economics going well. We do have to improve our relations, our trading relations with anybody that we already have a trade route with, or even if you don't have it, you could go from 0 out of 1 to 0 out of 2. But in my opinion, it's better to go from 1 out of 1 to 1 out of 2, and then go to 2 out of 2. That makes sense. That completely makes sense, because if you send a merchant to a trade route and you get a max of 1 trade route per AI, that's 1. Okay, let me explain this a little further. And then if you want to send another one, you're going to have to improve that relation. Sorry for the not so complex math that was confusing. All right, so now that we're completely done with production buildings, we're going to start expanding. We're going to do a settler first, and then it's going to be a lot of military. But our production is also so good and back that we probably will do a lot more buildings too. We're at 383 gold. We're getting about 30 gold per turn. Not too bad. But that gold is also going to go down because we want to stay friendly with all these people. We still have Frederick and Hatsa to send out a merchant to. So we went from, I guess we just went up in gold. We have to really figure out what we want to do here. Right now, I like where our resources are slotted, so we're going to keep it just as it is. But we really need to start to unlock those camels. And also, the bigger your city gets, the slower it expands, because it's going to require more food and more food each time. +5 production. Easy call. Gonna put it over the woodcutter and expand. For some reason, it's not letting us expand over the camels, which is really bothering me. It should let me expand over the camels. Instead, I'm gonna take our second best bet and go with the 2. Really mad at this. Really annoyed. If you know why it does that, please do let me know. It's probably because the building is not completed yet, so I can't expand it. If that's true, let me know in the comments below. Drop a like for that as well, because there's no other reason. Because you should just drop a like. Go back to all my other videos and just like all those too. All right, so we have a great library milestone completed. That's my alarm to end the episode, but we're gonna let this keep going for a little bit longer. We got our currency mastery tech, and actually we are going to end it here. So we're gonna go through our next steps in the next episode. We're really going for science. We already have one completed. We're looking for these codices, and a really big thing with these codices are codexes, okay, in English language, is getting the buildings to house them. So in the next episode, we're going to try to focus on getting these legacy paths accomplished and through. And in the next episode, we're going to do exactly that. But I already said that. Be sure to comment on me repeating myself. Like it for every time I repeated myself. And be sure to subscribe if you'd like to hear me repeat myself some more in the future, as every other YouTuber does. Comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you. My name's TyTech, and I will see you in next episode, which should be posted probably tomorrow. I'm going to do 2 a day. All right. I'll see you. Good start. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. Repeating.